Chosen one, I see you, I know you, and I tell you now with a steady and loving voice, you did not land here by accident. I am speaking to you as one who has stood at the edge of Kairos moments before, and I declare your prophetic scroll is being unsealed in perfect Kairos timing. This is the appointed hour on heaven's clock, written for you before your birth. Hear me, anointed one. You are standing at the brink of a destined moment, a sealed word cracking open that could unfold today, tonight, within the coming hours or days. Do not rush past this. Do not doubt. As Habakkuk 2:3 says, the vision waits. It will speak and not lie. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, there is a season for everything under heaven. This is your season. I call you to sudden holy expectation. Breathe in reverence. Receive the unrolling of what heaven wrote about you. I will guide you into this hour, into the place where body, spirit, and circumstances begin to shift. Prepare your heart, my child. Wake your faith. The veil thins now, and what was hidden is ready to be revealed. Go deeper with me. Chosen one. Hear me now with everything in you. This is not a gentle suggestion. It is a divine summons. I come to you as one who has watched scrolls unroll in the quiet and seen destinies take breath in the dark. I declare heaven is intervening in your life at this very hour. The sealed scroll of your purpose is being touched by holy hands. Codes once hidden are being unlocked. This is Kairos, not accidental time, but appointed, precise, sacred timing, and you are standing within it. Part 1. The hidden wealth in your painful past, in your isolation, and in the people you keep overlooking. 1. Hidden wealth in your painful past. Chosen one, do not flinch when I speak of your scars. Your wounds are not accidents, nor are they stains on a life that God will discard. I tell you with the authority of one who has sat in the ashes and watched green shoots push through, that every wound was a preparation, a pruning, a protection, and an alignment. The betrayals that cut you were not cruelty without purpose. They were surgical removals of what would have choked your calling. The doors that slammed closed were not rejection. They were God rerouting you away from what would have delayed your destiny. Listen. There is a treasure chest buried beneath the rubble of what you thought would destroy you. I have met people, myself included, who turned their darkest nights into revelations that funded a future of influence. I once held a journal where I had scribbled shame and fear. Years later, those pages became a roadmap that rescued someone else from despair. Your scars are manuscripts. The resilience you carry is a currency. Do not treat your story as a secret to hide. Treat it as a scroll to unseal. Write it, teach it, package your wisdom. The very pain that felt like a tomb is actually the womb of your next season. This is prophetic. The suffering that felt like punishment was preparation. When you honor the lessons, harvest the insights, and steward the narrative, you unlock a level of wealth, spiritual authority, clarity, influence, and yes, material provision that cannot be stolen. The world is hungry for authenticity. Your survival is proof that heaven intended you to lead with truth, not pretense. 2. Hidden wealth in your isolation. Anointed one, when the phone went quiet and the room felt too large, you were not abandoned. Solitude was not a sentence, it was a sacred rehearsal. In the seasons I thought were empty, I discovered the architecture of my own soul. In the silence I heard instructions I would have missed in the clamor. Isolation was protection from false counsel. It was purification from the noise of approval that would have diluted your dream. Do not despise the quiet. It is where the whisper becomes audible. God often strips the crowd away to reveal the core. I have seen mentors form out of silence, convictions birthed in late-night prayers, strategies downloaded while the world slept. That loneliness you resented was actually a holy incubator. You learn to recognize truth without applause, to trust an inner compass without consensus. Those faculties are wealth. People chasing clout will never build what you can construct in the hush. Now be intentional. Record what the quiet taught you. Create the frameworks you discovered there. There are others drowning in noise who need the map of how to return to stillness and hear their assignment. Your isolation was research for your future ministry, business, or leadership. Do not squander the clarity. Treasure it, steward it, and release it to those who are ready to receive. 3. Hidden wealth in the people you keep overlooking. My beloved, look around you with new eyes. Heaven hides helpers where pride would never look. I have missed my most strategic allies because of my own assumptions, passing by humble faces because I was trained to bow only to titles. But God's connectors rarely come with grand packaging. Sometimes destiny arrives as the person sweeping the floor, the taxi driver with a prophetic sentence, the quiet neighbor with an unlikely idea. If you are not careful, you will miss your miracle because you were searching for a miracle that matched your image of success. I must speak plainly. Your next level could be sitting in the least expected seat at your table. Ask for spiritual vision to see through camouflage. Pray for humility so you will not let ego sever a divine appointment. I remember the day a casual conversation with someone I would have dismissed changed a strategy that had been stuck for years. That person carried a key, not because they were polished, but because heaven assigned them to you. This is not a call to abandon discernment. It is a call to expand your perception. Train your spirit to recognize value beyond veneers. Speak blessing over the ordinary people in your orbit. When you begin to honor the lowly, the kingdom moves. Doors you thought would open only through influential introductions begin to swing wide because God places His favor in unexpected hands. Pause here and let this settle. Your past is a treasury when harvested with wisdom. Your isolation is a laboratory where destiny is incubated. The people you ignore may be the scaffolding for your next season. Prepare your heart, chosen one. The scroll is unrolling. Stay with me. The Kairos moment keeps moving. Chosen one, hear me. The ordinary you have been dismissing is a vault of the extraordinary. When I say ordinary, I mean the things that feel effortless to you, the gestures that others call normal because they see them every day. Yet heaven has placed a signature on what you take for granted. That ease is not an accident, it is a design. The enemy will whisper that what comes naturally to you is nothing special, so you will bury it. But I declare that very ease is your calling's fingerprint. I remember thinking for years that my way of speaking gently was simply who I was, nothing to package, nothing to monetize, nothing to announce. I used it freely, giving counsel, calming rooms, absorbing tension. Then a season came when my provision was lean and my influence felt stalled. It was in the quiet of that season that God showed me the cost of undervaluing what I had always offered. The skill I called normal had been preparing me to lead people out of panic into purpose. It was preparation, protection, pruning, and alignment all at once. When I finally honored it, doors opened, not because I begged, but because I aligned with the gift God had given me. Anointed one, do you see the pattern? Ease is evidence. Familiarity is a signpost. The world needs what you do naturally because many are starving for solutions you were made to provide. If you can organize chaos while others crumble, teach that method. If you can breathe life into tired ideas, build a curriculum around that breathing. The spiritual economy does not reward humility that hides your assignment. It blesses stewardship that recognizes value and multiplies it. Package it, teach it, sell it with the confidence of one who knows heaven backs the gift. Now the thing you're avoiding, that door you keep circling but never push open, is not a wall. It is a test of faith. When fear stands guard, it's proof that something of worth lies beyond. I have stood at that threshold. I have rehearsed courage in my chest and prayed until my knees shook. Every time I obeyed, I learned that pressure was anointing in training clothes. The resistance was not rejection, it was a guardian of treasure. The anxiety that made you postpone was protection that kept you safe until refinement readied you to steward what lies ahead. You will hear voices, your own old critics, the voices of those who never risked urging you to stay small. Do not listen. The very thing that scares you is sacred because it calls you out of the comfortable into your appointed place. Begin in small steps if you must. Offer that first video, have that hard conversation, launch that imperfect offer. Obedience births momentum. The Kairos moment does not wait for perfection, it waits for faith. Move and watch heaven conspire with your courage. Return with me a little further to the earliest version of you, the child who knew no limits. Your childhood interests are not relics. They are seed packets stored by heaven for your later harvest. I know you traded some of those joys for survival. I did the same. I tucked away my paintbrushes for practicality and later found them again as tools of healing. Those youthful delights carried the original frequency of your soul. They were prophetic markers of what you were made to do before the world told you a different story. When you retrieve those loves, you reconnect to your blueprint. I have watched people who return to a childhood hobby suddenly receive assignments that fit like the missing piece of a puzzle. A kid who loved writing as a solace becomes an adult whose words lead a movement. A child who tinkered with simple machines grows into an innovator whose inventions feed communities. The wonder you dismissed as childish contains the cadence of your destiny. Rescue it. Reignite it. Fold it into your current calling. It will not contradict what you do now. It will enhance it. Listen, these three wells, your ordinary skills, your avoided door, your childhood passions, are not separate treasures. They are strands of the same cord that fastens you to destiny. When woven together, they form the rope that will pull you into the next level. I urge you to stop treating them as optional extras and start treating them as the core curriculum of your assignment. Practice them, refine them, and place a cost on your time and talent where appropriate. When you honor what God gave you, heaven honors your stewardship. You may be tempted to hide again, to say that humility means scarcity. That is a lie dressed in piety. True humility recognizes the source of the gift and then uses it sacrificially for the good of many and allows provision to flow back so the work can continue. When you stop giving away what you ought to steward, you do not become selfish, you become a better steward. That boundary is not harsh, it is holy. It preserves your capacity to serve long term. Chosen one. I feel the urgency of this hour pressing on your spirit. The scroll that details your gifts is unrolling even as I speak. This is your invitation to reclaim what you thought was insignificant, to step into the fearful doorway with a boldness honed by preparation, and to rescue the childlike joy that carries prophetic keys. Receive this as a declaration. What you dismissed as ordinary will become the architecture of your influence. Walk toward it with reverence and resolve. Chosen one you are becoming, and there is wealth in that very becoming. I say this with the certainty of one who has watched seasons reshape a person into their appointed form. Every stretch, every unfamiliar step, every shed habit has been a divine tailoring. When I speak of the awkwardness, the misfit moments, the times you felt too much or not enough, hear me, that discomfort was preparation, protection, pruning and alignment, not rejection. Your evolution has been intentional. Heaven has been rewriting the lines of your identity so you can step into a role you could not have occupied before. I know what it is to outgrow rooms and relationships. I remember a season when I kept trying to fit back into conversations that felt too small to sit at tables where I had already outlived my seat. Pride and familiarity kept pulling me back like an undertow. It cost me momentum. But when I began to dress, speak and move like the person I was becoming, not the person I used to be, doors aligned differently. People I needed did not recognize the old me, because the old me would have stayed where I was comfortable. Your new identity is a key. Wear it boldly, my beloved. Step into the mantle that matches the revelation inside you. This is not arrogance, it is obedience. The person you are becoming carries new authority, new favor, and new anointing. If you keep pretending to be the person who could not carry what you now carry, the overflow will leak out of spaces unprepared for it. You will be robbed of blessings because you are not presenting yourself as ready to receive them. Let go of the fear that being more will make you less holy. Holiness and increase are not opposed. The kingdom often promotes according to revelation, not popularity. Release the old self. Embrace the new one like a sacred garment tailored by heaven. Now hear me about what you have been giving away for free. Chosen one. Generosity is holy, but so is stewardship. I have bled on behalf of others, given counsel until my cup was empty, and watched people treat my gift as a disposable commodity. That season taught me the critical difference between grace and exploitation. The world will consume your mercy if you do not set boundaries. Saying yes to every request when your energy is finite is not humility. It is mismanagement of a divine resource. When I say you were being prepared, protected, pruned, and aligned by those painful limits, I mean the exhaustion itself was a signal. Guard your anointing. The times you felt used were not punishments, they were alerts to redesign how you give. I began to place value around my time and my wisdom, not because I wanted more for myself, but because I wanted to preserve what I was entrusted with so it could serve more people more effectively for longer. I charged because charging created sustainability. I built systems so my gift would not be solely dependent on my emotion. That structure became a blessing to many who needed consistent, ordered help rather than sporadic, depleted rescue. This is a kairos correction. When you stop handing away your gold like pebbles, you teach others to honor sacred labor. When you start to ask for fair exchange, something spiritual shifts. Doors that used to take your free labor now respect your worth, and the work multiplies. Your energy is currency. Your attention is sacred. Boundaries are not walls against compassion. They are the fences that protect the vineyard so it bears fruit season after season. And now the stillness you have been avoiding. This is the most urgent river of wealth of all. You have been running to avoid the quiet because stillness exposes what you have hidden. Grief that needs grieving, callings that need naming, truths that need hearing. My child, that avoidance has not been failure. It has been a season of protection. Staying busy was a buffer while God readied you to receive deeper downloads. The pressure of the workload, the delay of the outcome, each was preparation and pruning. So when you finally paused, you could hold the revelation without breaking. I will be honest, it terrified me the first time I truly sat with nothing to fill the space. I felt small and untethered. But the first time I allowed silence to speak, I received a strategy that changed a ministry, a healing that altered my relationships, and a peace that outlasted circumstance. The quiet is where heaven records your next move. The holy whisper comes not through commentary, but through surrender. Turn down the noise, my dear one. Your spiritual Wi-Fi is stronger in the hush. Practical this is, create a margin. Block time to sit, to breathe, to journal. Unplug the devices that steal sacred bandwidth. When you do watch how thoughts rearrange, how ideas arrive that were never in your head before, expect clarity, expect correction, expect communion. Stillness is not empty. It is a storeroom where the pattern of your destiny is kept until you are ready to pick it up. I want to speak directly to the urgency pressing on your spirit. Heaven is not whispering casually. The unsealing is active. The scroll written for you is unrolling as you listen. If you will honor your becoming, set boundaries around the gifts you pour out, and sink into the silence that births strategy, you will find wealth not simply the currency of men, but the weighty, generative abundance of heaven. This wealth will rearrange your relationships, your influence, and your capacity to serve. It will not come without your participation. You must choose to step forward as the new person, to steward your gift with wisdom, and to sit long enough to hear the next word. Receive this now as I release it. The place you have been shrinking from is exactly where your destiny waits. Choose faith over fear. Choose rest over noise. Choose dignity over depletion. The hour on heaven's clock is active for you. Chosen one, come closer in your spirit. I will not water this down. Heaven is calling you into immediate obedience, not tomorrow when you feel ready, but now in the momentum of this Kairos hour. I speak as one who has been humbled by stallings that became launchings, as one who learned to steward a hard-earned anointing into sustainable influence. Hear me, the work ahead is practical, sacred, and urgent. First, harvest your story. Your past, the betrayals, the lonely nights, the failures are not relics to bury. They are manuscripts to unseal. When I say the pain you carried was preparation, protection, pruning, and alignment, I mean it. Those nights were not punishment. They were the very curriculum from which your wisdom now flows. Do this, write one candid page every day for a month. Do not edit for polish, edit for truth. Those pages will become your first teachings, your keynote, your book, or the script for the video that opens a door. When you honor the theology of your scars, you convert grief into currency, spiritual authority that the marketplace will pay for, because people are desperate for honest guides. Second, create sacred margins. You were not made to be perpetually available. The season you felt exhausted was not rejection. It was preparation, protection, pruning, and alignment that said, guard this assignment. Begin by protecting 3 hours a week of uninterrupted stillness, no notifications, no commitments, no noise. Use that time to journal, to listen, to pray, to map. The first revelation I received that changed my trajectory came out of a 2-hour silence where I refused to flee the ache. Make a simple ritual, 20 minutes of breath, 10 minutes of writing, 30 minutes of listening. Train your body to expect revelation in that rhythm. Third, monetize with dignity. I know that for many of you, giving felt holy. Giving away wisdom felt like humility. But humility that erodes your sustainability is not holy. It is unwise stewardship. Begin small, create a modest offer, a 90-minute consult, a 3-session package, a downloadable guide, and put a price on it. I recall the trembling when I typed my first rate. I felt guilty until the first person paid. That payment did not impoverish compassion. It validated the work and allowed me to serve more people with better systems. When you value your time, others learn to value it too. Say out loud, I charge for that, and mean it. That phrase is prophetic. It rearranges resources and honors the labor God entrusted to you. Fourth, design one experiment. Kairos moves through acts of faith, not endless planning. Pick one thing you've been circling, a video, a course, a conversation, and commit to a 60-day test. Set measurable markers, publish one piece weekly, invite 5 people to beta test, schedule 1 live conversation. Expect imperfect beginnings. The first season of obedience is never polished. It is raw and real. I launched a shaky first workshop that felt too small, and within weeks the right partnership appeared because someone saw my heart in the act. Small obedience triggers heaven's constellations. Fifth, reteach your perception of people. You have been coached to look for power in prestige. Reposition your vision. Start a simple habit each week. Ask God to highlight one overlooked person in your proximity. Send them a note, listen to their story, ask a revealing question. I have watched God open alliances through the humblest introductions, the neighbor with a small business, the barista who shared a corrective idea, the janitor who offered a sentence that became a sermon. Pride blinds, curiosity opens doorways. Sixth, rescue your childhood compass. The gifts you loved as a child are blueprints. Make a list tonight, 5 things you adored before the world's expectations arrived. Then imagine how each could be a ministry, a product, or a message. I put my childhood scribbles side by side with my current framework and discovered an artful method of communication that became a signature offering. When you reintegrate your earliest joys, your work gains soul and magnetism. Seventh, protect your becoming. Dress, speak, and move like the one you are becoming. This is not vanity, it is prophetic alignment. The new identity needs a body. When you begin to inhabit that person in language, in posture, in decisions, the world will begin to treat you accordingly. I remember a season of quiet elevation when I decided to speak a new vocabulary into my life. People's responses changed because my inner map shifted and my outer reality followed. Eighth, form a small circle of trust. Find 2 or 3 anointed ones who will speak truth and not flatter. Ask them to hold you accountable to the rhythms above your margins, your pricing, your experiment. I had 3 people who would call me when I slipped into old patterns. Their questions were sharp, but their love was holy. Community polishes destiny. Finally, make a simple declaration daily. Heaven's scroll over me is unsealing now. I will show up. I will steward. I will dare. Speak it into your mirror, into your car, into the silence before work. Declarations are not empty words. They tune your spirit to the frequency of production. The hour is not theoretical, it is active. You are being invited to participate. Anointed one, I have offered you steps grounded in prayerful experience and practical faith. This is how the hidden wealth surfaces through honest pages, guarded silence, dignified exchange, faithful experiments, curious eyes, recovered wonder, embodied identity, and loyal companions. Do not let the enemy convince you that delay is failure. Delay has been protection, pruning, preparation, and alignment until you could hold what is coming. Now rise with intention. Put the pen to the page. Close the apps for your sacred hour. Create the modest offer. Call the person you ignored. Reclaim the toy you loved as a child. Dress like the one heaven is forming you to be. Your scroll is unrolling. Touch it with your hands. My child, I stand with you in this moment. Receive it and move. Chosen one, listen with your whole soul. The unsealing you are experiencing is not theoretical, it is kinetic. Heaven is moving like a hand across the seal of your scroll, and I want to help you receive what is being released. I will give you a sacred practice, a set of precise, simple acts you can do in the coming hours to agree with heaven's timing and to position your spirit, body, and circumstances to receive. These are not mere tips. They are prophetic rhythms that align heaven's timing with your obedience. First, name the scroll. Take a page and write at the top. This scroll is for, say, your name. Beneath it, write 3 words that describe the destiny you sense. For example, healer, creative architect, kingdom, entrepreneur. When you name the scroll, you give heaven a place to land. I have done this myself many times in seasons of uncertainty. The act of naming made the invisible specific and opened doors I had only whispered about in the dark. Your pain, your delays, your pruning, call them by name, and then declare what the scroll says about you. Remember, every trial was preparation, protection, pruning, alignment, not rejection. The page becomes a covenant between you and the Kairos hour. Second, create a small altar of agreement. You do not need anything ornate. A candle, a notebook, and an object that symbolizes your gifting, a pen, a paintbrush, a phone, a small tool, are enough. Light the candle and say aloud, "Heaven, I agree with your timing. Unseal what you wrote before I was born. Speak it firmly." I have stood over such an altar when the future felt like fog and watched clarity descend like dawn. The candle is not magic. It is a physical posture of faith. The posture shifts your nervous system from frantic survival to expectant receptivity. Third, receive and record one revelation. Sit in stillness for 10 minutes. Guard it, protect it, as I taught you before, because the hush is a treasury. Breathe slowly. Ask, what is the next single step you want me to take? Wait. When a phrase, an image, or a directive comes, write it down immediately. Do not rationalize. I have learned the hard way that the first impression from heaven is often the blueprint. The pressure you felt to perform earlier was preparation. The pause you resisted now is protection, so you can hear the next word. Record it, and then act on the smallest, clearest instruction within 48 hours. Fourth, make a small, holy exchange. Choose one thing you have given away and set a grace-based price for it. Offer it as a paid product or a covenant with clear boundaries. When I began asking for fair exchange, it felt awkward at first, but it changed the economy around my calling. Charging did not harden my heart. It dignified my stewardship and allowed me to serve more faithfully. This is stewardship, not greed. Your energy is sacred currency. Protect it like you protect the lampstand. Fifth, initiate one humble outreach. Call or message someone you previously dismissed or overlooked. Ask a genuine question. Listen more than you speak. I have watched God place keys in unlikely hands and then watch those hands gift the key to my door. Pride misses prophetic appointments. Humility opens them. Say, tell me your story and wait. Treat people like altars where revelation can be hidden. Your next collaborator may not look like a collaborator until you listen. Sixth, declare a personal liturgy for the week. A liturgy is a short set of words you will say each morning when you wake. Today I agree with heaven's scroll over me. I will work, rest, and obey. I will honor my boundaries and steward my gift. Repeat it for 7 days. I promise you repetition tunes your spirit to the frequency of production and prepares your body to carry new assignments. The repetition is not ritualistic emptiness. It is the training of your soul's ear. Seventh, practice prophetic risk. Pick one small managed risk that requires courage and do it this week. Send the message. Launch the 5-minute video. Invite one person to a conversation you've been avoiding. Risk is where destiny moves from the realm of ideas into the realm of reality. The fear guarding that threshold was not a verdict. It was confirmation that something valuable waits for you on the other side. The pressure is preparation. Step into it. Eighth, protect a Sabbath of stillness. I know you have delayed rest because deadlines scream. Hear me, rest is not optional in Kairos. Sabbath is a spiritual container where bigger strategies arrive. Close your work for a day or even a half day. Leave the devices in another room. Be present to the people with you, to the sound of your breath, to the presence that occupies the quiet. The world will not end. Your capacity to steward what comes will increase. Finally speak a sealing declaration. Stand in front of a mirror and say with conviction, I receive the unsealing of my scroll. I will steward what heaven entrusts me. Delay has been preparation, and I step forward now. I will say this to you as well, my beloved, I stand with you in this hour. I have walked out these steps. I have failed and repented, and learned to live by the rhythms I now give you. The practices are simple because the Spirit-fueled obedience is what carries weight. Heaven rewards the small acts of faith you will take today. Chosen one. The scroll is unrolling. The signs are aligning. The appointed hour on heaven's clock is active for you. These acts are your hands moving to meet what heaven pours forth. Do not confuse delay with absence. Every delay has been preparation, protection, pruning, and alignment, so that when the door opens, you can hold the weight of what comes. Receive it with both hands. My child, rise and do what I have invited you to do. Light the candle, name the scroll, speak the declaration, make the exchange, reach out, risk, rest, and then come back to this moment and tell me what the hush taught you. I am with you. I will not let the seal remain closed while you sit idle. The unsealing is active, agree with it, and step into what heaven has written for you. Chosen one. I want you to settle into this moment like it's holy ground, because it is. I speak to you now as one who has walked through seasons that felt like endings, but were actually openings. And I tell you with tender authority, heaven is aligning your timelines. The delays, the disappointments, the pruning, every one of them has been preparation, protection, pruning, and alignment, not rejection or punishment. That truth is the scaffolding for what follows. Hear me plainly, your scroll is not being unsealed in isolation from your life. It is unsealing through your life. The places you dismissed, the scarred chapters, the quiet rooms, the ordinary gifts, are now the hinge points of your acceleration. I have seen this over and over. I once watched a friend whose business had failed 3 times receive a sudden invitation to lead a global initiative because they had documented the lessons of failure. The very failures they called shame became the syllabus for a new generation. I have walked similar paths. I know the taste of fear that precedes favor, and I have felt the relief when the hand of heaven lifts the weight. This hour requires both courage and craft. Courage to step into the untried doorcraft, to steward what comes without burning out. You will need rhythms, structures, and companions who will speak truth even when the applause is absent. Start by choosing one long-term framework that protects your calling. For me, it was a weekly rhythm, 2 hours of stillness, 1 day of creative restoration, and a set time for client work. When seasons became chaotic, that rhythm kept the revelation steady. Design your framework around your gift so that when momentum hits, you can hold it without being bent. Do not confuse quick bursts of success with steady increase. The kingdom often moves by increments that compound. The small, faithful acts you do this month will be the roots of your harvest 10 seasons from now. I remember building slowly, offering a modest paid workshop while still doing free counsel. At first, it felt immodest to charge. Later, it turned into a steady platform that supported my family and allowed me to pour into communities full-time. This is stewardship. You protect your capacity so you can give abundantly. Now listen to what I prophetically declare over you. The hidden wealth sown into your life will begin to surface in patterns. People, platforms, and provision will line up. Expect 3 sorts of alignments. First, relational alignment. People who were once peripheral become pivotal. Second, vocational alignment. What you do naturally becomes the center of your offering. Third, temporal alignment. Doors you prayed for will open within seasons that feel sudden, because heaven has been preparing the entrance long before you saw it. You must prepare your heart for responsibility. Increase is not only a blessing, it is a test of faithfulness. The way you steward today's small assignments will determine what you can hold tomorrow. I have had to relearn this repeatedly. When a large opportunity entered my life, my gift felt too small at first, until I let systems carry it. Boundaries, partners, clear pricing, and a simple team. You will need help. Begin to invite trusted people now. Honesty will be more valuable than flattery. Ask 3 people who know your gifting to speak plainly into the shape of your next season. The counsel of the few will protect the many. There will be moments when you question timing. In those moments, remember this: Kairos is not always comfortable. The appointed hour can feel inconvenient because it breaks the patterns that once protected you. That breaking is not malice, it is refinement. When I was stretched into a role I doubted I could fill, the pressure felt like a verdict. Later, I recognized it as a breaking open so my hands could hold more. Your discomfort is an indication that something of value awaits. I want you to make a covenant with your future self. Write a letter to the version of you who has already walked through this season successfully. Describe what you hope to have learned, the boundaries you kept, the systems you built, and the people who stood with you. Keep that letter visible. I did this the night before a major transition, and reading it later anchored me in decisions that matched the vision rather than the panic. The future you will require choices made now. Embrace gratitude as a practice, not merely an emotion. Thankfulness opens storage rooms of favor. When I thank before the evidence, I notice how small gates open into larger corridors. Gratitude trains your spirit to recognize provision early, and when you recognize it early, you steward it wisely. Say out loud each morning, "Thank you for what is forming on my behalf." Mean it. The voice of thanksgiving is prophetic. It aligns your atmosphere with the gift. Finally, I give you a short prophetic benediction to hold as you move. I declare that the sealed pages of your scroll are breaking open now. What was hidden in plain sight will be revealed. Your ordinary will become extraordinary. Your avoided door will be a doorway of deliverance. Your childhood joys will return as keys. Receive this unsealing with humility and courage. Walk into responsibility, build the systems you need, invite honest companions, protect your rhythms, and when fear rises, remind yourself the pressure was preparation, not punishment. My beloved, I do not say these things casually. I have seen scrolls unroll, and I have seen destinies align with the trustful steps of a willing heart. The Kairos moment touching you now is precise and merciful. Move with care, with boldness, with gratitude, and know that I stand with you in the mystery. The unsealing is happening. Reach for it with both hands and steward what heaven pours into your life. Chosen one, breathe with me now. This hour is tender and fierce at once, tender, because heaven leans close to whisper, fierce, because it asks you to risk and rearrange. I have walked through openings that felt like earthquakes and watched them become foundations. Hear me, what is shifting in you is not incidental. The pressure you have felt was preparation, the delay was protection, the pruning was alignment. Receive that as truth before you move. I want to give you a prophetic lens for the days immediately ahead. There will be 3 markers you can expect, signs that heaven is answering your agreement, and I will speak them plainly so you will not be confused when they appear. First, sudden clarity in ordinary moments. You will be doing something simple, washing a dish, walking to the mailbox, sitting in traffic, and a sentence will arrive that rearranges a plan you have been circling for years. That clarity is not coincidence. It is heaven dropping an architecture into your day when your heart is quiet enough to hold it. When it comes, write it down. Do not gatekeep it with doubt. I have had plans shift on a grocery receipt because a line I scribbled in the silence was the exact phrase that opened a meeting months later. Keep a pocket notebook. Train your hands to capture heaven's little deliveries. Second, relational accelerations that feel disproportionate. A phone call, a DM, a coffee invite that seems small will carry disproportionate favor. The person who reaches out may not be polished. They may be exhausted, ordinary human, but they will be a carrier of assignment. When this happens, do not measure by resume, measure by the way your spirit responds. I once received an email from someone I would have overlooked, and it became the entry into a season I thought was closed. Humility will pay dividends in these intersections. Say yes to curiosity and protect discernment with a humble heart. Third, doors that open with urgency and ask for immediate stewardship. An opportunity will arrive that requires you to hold it with structure, clear boundaries, delegated tasks, and a refusal to operate out of scarcity. This is a test of your readiness. The first time I said yes to a sudden opening without a framework, the blessings slipped through my hands because my systems were unripe. Later, when I waited to steward with dignity, charging rightly, protecting rest, and inviting a small team, the same kind of opening multiplied. Prepare now for the responsibility of increase, so you do not have to reinvent order under pressure. Now some practical guardrails from one who has tripped and been taught by truth. First, when breakthrough comes, do not immediately expand everything. God's favor is not an instruction to scatter. The faithful increase is an increase that is stewarded. Choose two places to invest. One is internal rhythms that protect you, stillness, sleep, Sabbath. And one is external, a trusted person or team who can carry what you cannot. I lost traction once by saying yes to every good idea. I recovered when I hired a single, honest helper who could protect my margins. Speaking truth into a partner's ear will save you from speaking feverishly into many strangers' ears. Second, resist the enemy's first tactic, comparison. When your season opens, it will expose areas you thought were settled: insecurity, envy, old shame. That is normal. Treat those feelings as signals to return to humility, not as indicators that you are less than what you are becoming. I have watched people abort anointed seasons because they listened to the whisper that their success was unfair or unearned. Do not let accusation hijack your harvest. Speak back with gratitude and steady discipline. Third, establish a simple economic rule. Decide beforehand what percentage of every new income you will set aside for three things: reinvestment in your calling, rest and restoration, and generosity. I do this because when abundance arrives, it can teach greed if you are unprotected. The first money I earned from charging a small fee turned into a habit of stewardship that funded my sustainability. That first disciplined allocation felt like boundary setting with heaven, honoring what you receive by letting it multiply rightly. Let me share a short, honest testimony so you know this counsel is lived. Years ago, my own life felt stalled. I had the language of calling, but not the doors. I chose 3 small acts. I wrote 1 unedited page a day. I protected 2 hours of stillness a week. And I asked a friend I had previously dismissed to look at my work. Within 60 days, a single line I had written became a workshop curriculum. The stillness delivered a strategic pivot, and the friend introduced me to someone who loved the work enough to fund a pilot. The sequence looked ordinary until I named it Kairos. The delay had been protection. The pruning had made me teachable. The discomfort had been tailoring. Believe me when I tell you heaven's economy rewards the patient and the prepared. You will face nights when nothing seems to change. Those nights are not failure. They are the sacred dark where roots deepen. When you encounter those nights, speak this simple creed: I was prepared, not punished. I was pruned, not rejected. I am aligned, not abandoned. Say it until your chest believes it. The language of truth rewires your nervous system to expect God-sized moves. Finally, a prophetic charge. Step into humble audacity. The Kairos hour will not always wait for your comfort. Sometimes it asks you to walk into a room with unfinished sentences, to declare a small offering, to fund a tiny experiment you cannot yet see fully. God honors the brave who dare with broken hands and honest hearts. I have stood in those rooms and felt fear like a fog, and when I chose to move, the fog cleared and the city of favor appeared. Chosen one, this is a sacred summons. The scroll is unrolling. Not everything will be immediate, but everything is intentional. Walk forward with clear hands and a taut heart. Make the small commitments you can keep. Protect the rhythms you need. Invite a faithful few. Steward the increase with the humility of one who knows how pressure shaped them. My child, rise now and align your feet to the word. Speak the short liturgy you have been given. Capture the sentence that comes in the ordinary. Say yes to the person who seems unlikely. Prepare a framework for sudden doors. And remember always, the delay was protection, the pain was preparation, the pruning was alignment. Heaven is moving on your behalf. Meet it with both hands. Chosen one, come and lean into this final unwrapping with me. I speak now as one who has been both startled and steadied by heaven's timing, and I tell you plainly, the scroll over your life is not only unsealing, it is demanding a response. The call is tender and urgent. The hour asks for a yes that is practical, not merely sentimental. Hear me, my beloved, when I speak of difficulty. Know immediately that every pain, every pressure, every delay has been preparation, protection, pruning and alignment, not rejection or punishment. That truth is your footing. First, take inventory with compassion. Make a list tonight of what you've endured and what you've dismissed, the failures you hid, the skills you called ordinary, the people you overlooked, the doors you avoided, the childlike joys you left behind. As you write, say aloud, this was preparation, not punishment. I have done this exercise in the dark when my hands trembled. Turning pain into a list of lessons turned my grief into a syllabus. The act of honest inventory converts wandering years into a coherent curriculum of favor. Second, set a short-term covenant. Choose one tangible commitment you can keep for the next 30 days. 3 pages written, 1 video published, 1 paid offering, launched a single morning of stillness weekly. Make it narrow and non-negotiable. When I was rebuilding after a season of collapse, the simplicity of a 30-day covenant rescued me from overwhelm. It taught me that Sabbath and strategy can coexist. Keep the promise to yourself as though heaven were watching, because it is. Third, cultivate a sacred economy. Decide now how you will honor your energy as currency. Choose a modest fee for one service you offer and announce it. Place a percentage of every incoming gift into 3 jars: reinvestment, rest, generosity. I once feared that charging would harden my heart. What happened was the opposite. Pricing gave my gift dignity and expanded my capacity to love and serve more people well. Pricing is not greed, it is stewardship. Fourth, practice the small act of prophetic risk daily. Stand before someone this week and say what the Spirit has put on your heart, even if it is brief and imperfect. Send the message post, the short clip call, the person you have been avoiding. I remember the night I sent a trembling message to a former skeptic and watched it become the seed of a partnership. Risk is the language of Kairos. It makes the sealed pages readable. Fifth, build a humble team. You do not have to do this alone. Choose one trusted person to hold your accountability, one person to help with logistics, and one spiritual friend who will not flatter you. I learned the value of a small circle when I stopped pretending to be enough by myself. Those three became my scaffolding when larger doors opened. Invite help before you need it. That is wise foresight, not weakness. Sixth, recover the child gifts and stitch them into your work. Take one childhood joy and give it a modern form, a course, a podcast, a design element, a workshop. When I reintroduced my childhood scribbles into my current work, the offering resonated like nothing else. That youthful frequency carried a magnetism that adult polish could never manufacture. Your earliest delight is often your clearest signpost. Seventh, guard your stillness like a holy instrument. Protect a weekly window of silence and keep it as you would protect an appointment with a treasured mentor. In that hush, pursue the question, what is the next single obedient step? When pressure comes, remember, pressure was preparation, not punishment. The stillness will be your compass. It will phone you the blueprint you cannot hear amid the rush. Eighth, prepare to steward increase. When favor arrives, receive it with structures already in place. Clear boundaries, simple pricing, a reinvestment plan, and a small team. Increase will test you quickly. Your first instinct may be to say yes to everything. Instead, say yes to the things that align with the scroll you named. I have seen benevolent openings become burdens when owners of gifts had no fences. Protect the gift so it can bear fruit long term. Ninth, speak declarations with your body. Stand before a mirror and declare 3 sentences that tune your spirit. Mine were I receive heaven's timing. I will steward what I am given. Delay was alignment, not defeat. Speak them until your voice can carry truth into any weakness. I have done this in bathrooms, cars, and quiet rooms. The body remembers what the mind sometimes doubts. 10th, lean into gratitude as discipline. Make a short list each night of what moved toward you that day, however small. Gratitude is not a feel-good trick. It is atmospheric work that opens storerooms. When I trained myself to thank before the proof, I noticed doors that had been shut begin to be nudged open like windows at dawn. Now a final solemn invitation: be patient with the pace of unsealing. Kairos can feel sudden and slow at once. There will be accelerations and then stretches of waiting. When waiting returns, name it. This waiting is protective. It is pruning. Do not let the slow seasons rewrite your identity. Your identity is not timing dependent. You are chosen. You are beloved. You are being prepared. I will leave you with a brief living benediction I speak over you now. Chosen one, I decree that the seams of your life will stitch favor to function. The textures of your past, the scars, the solitude, the overlooked people, the ordinary skills, the avoided doors, the childhood spark will become the architecture of your influence. Receive the unsealing with a heart that is both brave and tender. Move with wise urgency. Protect what is precious. Invite help. Speak the word that is burning in you. When pressure comes, remember it is preparation. When delay continues, know it is alignment. When pain resurfaces, recognize it as pruning for more fruit. My beloved, I have walked this road. I have been humbled and healed. I stand with you now as witness and companion. The scroll is open. The ink is warm. Take up your pen. Agree with heaven. Walk into the destiny that awaited you before you ever dreamed it. Chosen one, receive this now as a holy sending. Your sealed prophecy is opening, your hidden scroll is being revealed, and you stand in the exact Kairos moment appointed on heaven's clock. I bless you with clarity, courage, and steady hands to steward what comes. Walk forward faithful, aligned with the flow of the anointing, grateful for every unfolding piece of your story. Believe that delay was preparation and pain was pruning for greater fruit. I commission you in prayer and truth. Go and keep the pace of heaven. If this stirred your spirit, type 111 as your agreement and return ready to receive. My beloved, go in peace.